the Cowboys always give us something to talk about when they mean to and sometimes when they don't mean to.
Hey, good morning to you, Mike. Good to see you. Fashion games at a high level again today. I love it. I should have just thought a little bit more before getting dressed, but sometimes the mind is foggy just around 7 a.m. So that's my bad on that. But I got to tell you, Mike, nope. No tongue-in-cheek. I didn't see the joke. You know what I saw? DeMarcus Lawrence saying to the interviewer, hey, you get it, right? You get that I just took a shot at the Cowboys. Are you going to respond to that? You see, I just got my shot in. What do you say to that? And I think the interviewer was surprised, but he wanted to get that out. And as we are finding out, there's truth in every joke, and so he wanted to make sure his statements were on the record.
I could understand it, and we'll get to what that sparked between DeMarcus Lawrence and a now former teammate. It's a more potent statement if he signs with the Eagles or the Chiefs or, a team that is in the conversation right now as a Super Bowl team. The Seahawks, and I don't think any Seahawks fan, no matter how much tariffed whiskey, champagne, or wine they would drink, I don't think they would say our team is in the Super Bowl window right now. I think they would say maybe we can make the playoffs this year. At best. So that kind of took some of the steam out of it because it's not like he has swapped a non-Super Bowl team for a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they won 10 games last year, and they could look at it and say, wow, we won 10 games. We really should have made the playoffs. But it was 10 games. They were inconsistent. They were a weird team all year. I think they won their first 3 games, and they dropped off. Looked like they were going to be dismissed, and they come roaring back, but really couldn't close the deal. And now they move on from their quarterback and their, depending on how you look at it, number 1 or number 2 wide receiver in DK Metcalf. So they got some rebuilding to do in Seattle. But the statement from DeMarcus Lawrence was really what he really wanted to say is the Dallas Cowboys will never win a Super Bowl. See, that's where I want to spend my time. Why do you think that? Why do you think they can't win a Super Bowl? It's not just because you're gone. You know something or you think something that you're not sharing right now, so why don't you share it? That's really what he wanted to say. It had nothing to do with Seattle. Even if he had gone to Philadelphia, if he had gone to Kansas City, that wasn't the point. The point is he wanted to take that shot at the Cowboys.
And I don't want to take a shot here at the guy known as Hawk Blogger, who was, not to be confused with Hawk, never mind, but the guy known as Hawk Blogger who
I got it.
Who asked the question.
I'm not that slow on a Friday morning.
Just making sure. You said you had a little fog. Just want to make sure the fog's gone at 7:04. But the natural follow is, why do you say that? And it's possible that he was so surprised by the comment he didn't know what to say. But, yeah, that would be a nice, why? Why do you say that? Please elaborate. And I'll make the open plea on behalf of everyone. DeMarcus, it's probably a little early where you are right now, but if by some miracle of modern technology these words end up making their way into your ears, take to Twitter and elaborate as to why you said what you said, because Twitter was used. Fortunately, Twitter was not down on Thursday night. This didn't play out on Blue Sky. It happened on Twitter. Not that I have a problem with Blue Sky. Trust me. Trust me. After what happened on Monday, I would love to abandon Twitter for Blue Sky, and I already would have loved to abandon Twitter for Blue Sky, but there's a certain practicality that factors into it. I digress. On Twitter, that's where the comments from DeMarcus Lawrence did reach the ears of Micah Parsons, who started with this. Why did we block the word? Come on, we say it all the time, but that's okay. That's okay. That's responsible. This is what rejection and envy look like. This is some clown shit. That's
Sorry,
what
London.
he said. Sorry. Yes, well done.
Sorry,
so that
Liverpool.
That was the first, tennis. That was the first volley back at DeMarcus. And whoa, wow, hey, there's some beef. And apparently people who follow the Cowboys have known there was beef between the two. They just never said it before. Now here's DeMarcus Lawrence with the last word as of last night. Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left. With a little smiling devil emoji. And again, that adds to my, is he just trying to stir things up for our amusement and entertainment? If so, well done. But again, some of the folks who cover the Cowboys have since said this has been there. It would have been nice to know about it while they were teammates, but now that they're not teammates and now that they're openly fighting, the people who have followed the team are like, oh yeah, this they've kind of had this going on. Usually we know when two teammates have something going on, but now we know primarily because they're not teammates anymore.
Mike, he's playing a little chess with Micah Parsons, because Parsons, the podcaster, you know what it's like. What do we always say? Hey, we don't necessarily root for teams. We root for stories. It's good content. So podcasters love content. So he goes right where Micah lives and says, well, if you spend less time doing all these things, that's what you are, right? You're a content creator and a great pass rusher. So I'm giving you content right now. Are you offended? It gives him that little, am I playing? Am I serious? And so now Micah is kind of off balance. I don't know what to do with this. And then he changes his profile pic to an old Cowboy shirt, which is a brilliant move.
That
is great. That
next
is
level.
Good stuff. But, it makes me wonder, because I like a good beef as much as anybody. I don't want to apply reason to it yet, or just be the arbitrator. Well, you make some good points and you make some good points, and let's work this out. I don't want to get there yet, but it does make me wonder, is he telling the truth? If he and Micah Parsons got along, you mean to tell me he would still be in Dallas? Really? So let's say they get along and Seattle is still offering, I don't know what Dallas offered, but common sense tells you Seattle offered more than the Cowboys. Or if the Cowboys offered anything at all, you mean to tell me he would be in Dallas and not Seattle? I find that hard to believe. So if you really break it down, Micah Parsons does have a point. If you're here, we're not having this conversation, because if you're here, you're getting more money, and ultimately that's what you want.
Yeah, rejection and envy, that speaks to a belief or knowledge by Micah Parsons that Lawrence isn't with the Cowboys, not because he decided after 12 seasons, 11 seasons, 12 I think it is, in Dallas, I'm going to go try to win a Super Bowl somewhere else because I'll never win one here. That wasn't the thought process. It was, I need a job. And the team that I've played for since 2014 doesn't want to give me a job at the level of compensation that I would prefer. The Seahawks do. So that response from Micah has loaded into it the notion that the Cowboys were the ones who said to Lawrence, we are breaking up with you.
Yeah, and the envy could also be Parsons, or it could be envy and exact. Let me add something to Micah's rant or his comeback. He said envy and rejection. It could also be exasperation on the part of DeMarcus Lawrence. Yeah, rejection, Dallas didn't want me, and my home is there, as he said in the interview with Hawk Blogger. So that's rejection. Envy could be Micah Parsons. He's got the podcast. He's gonna get a huge contract from somebody. If not the Cowboys, somebody else is gonna be a big contract. It's gonna be record-setting. But exasperation that he's able to do some things in that locker room. He's able to get away with things that rub some people the wrong way. Is DeMarcus Lawrence alone? Is he the only guy in the Cowboys locker room who kind of finds Parsons off-putting? I don't think so. Now, he's the first one to say it, but maybe that's part of this thing too. How's this guy act like this, and he's one of our leaders. If he's one of our leaders, I know we'll never win the Super Bowl because this type of leadership does not lead to a winning culture.
I think you might be hitting the nail on the head because this goes back to last April when Sean Sharif of 105.3 The Fan, Dallas Cowboys flagship station, said, based upon 4 people in the organization that he spoke to, that Micah's act is wearing thin. And we've seen squabbles, and I can't remember the name of the defensive back. He was a former first-round pick of the Indianapolis Colts, went to Ohio State, plays safety, ended up, I remember everything but his name, went to Dallas and spoke out last year about Micah's podcasting habit, and that created a back and forth between him and Micah Parsons. And look, when a guy's off duty, I don't expect a football player to eat, breathe, live football 24/7. But there are certain hobbies that can undermine the attitude and the spirit you're trying to create in the locker room. It's the Aaron Rodgers bully pulpit on ESPN with Pat McAfee once a week, where he strays down conspiracy rabbit holes and otherwise potentially says things that can undermine the idea that it's team, not me. Ben Roethlisberger used to do that in Pittsburgh on 93.7 The Fan. He would do a Tuesday afternoon call-in that would generate 1 or 2 stories a week. That's right. He would piss off a teammate or two from time to time by saying things that were better left unsaid in a public forum like that. So, and there is a double standard here because twice per week during the season we hear from Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan saying all sorts of things that create news. But this idea that even though Parsons is a great player, there is a quiet pushback against him in the organization from players and maybe front office, that for as great as he is, he just doesn't fit with what we're trying to do. And to the extent that he's a leader, he had a tweet after Lawrence left that it's my time now with the lion head. And he was talking about leadership. Well, there's good leadership and there's bad leadership. And I think what this rift between Lawrence and Parsons is showing is that reasonable minds differ in the building as to whether or not Parsons leads in a good way or a bad way. And I'm not making a conclusion because I don't know what's going on inside the building.
Right.
But I know this. There's a leak or two spraying out of the wall, and you got to wonder how far this might go. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.